Hi class. Today we're going to continue on our lessons on ethics. And so we spoke last week regarding the Chick-fil-A case, and we'll continue that conversation a little bit today. And then we're going to kind of take a deep dive into your own ethics and your own maybe prejudices and biases. And so keep in mind that this may be a difficult lesson, but we want to tackle some of these concepts and conversations openly and freely so we can have a good conversation about it. So first, let's go through ethics. We'll do some presentation prep and we'll do some bias testing. And so, Chick-fil-A case study, let's wrap it up a little bit here. We want to ask the question is it the responsibility of a business leader to remain silent? Why or why not? And so we've talked about this a little bit, and some of you may get to a point where, we don't think they should talk about things if their bottom line is going to get reduced. Some types of political issues people shouldn't talk about, or if it's not publicly recognized to be a good thing or popular. And so my question would be, what should you stand for? Or what should your company stand for, right? Is your bottom line the be-all and end-all of what you want to accomplish, right? Does that mean you cut corners, you do relatively unethical things to get more money, right? And so while easy to say, of course we wouldn't want to use child labor, or of course we wouldn't want to use substandard products, or of course this and that, right? But you say of course now, but the people who did it before would have said of course to different things. And 20 years from now, maybe your of course is on the wrong side of reality. And so the question is, what do you stand for, and what do you fundamentally believe as an individual, and should this kind of flow through to your organization? And for myself, I would say yes, right? Your ethics and your values and your systems should be represented in all you do. As a ethical person, as a Christian, to ensure that you are doing the right thing by your standards. Okay. Question number 2. Does social media help or harm a consumer's view on products or services? As you all know, social media can be very powerful in terms of marketing, in terms of giving good information or good impressions of products and services, but it can do equally or even probably more damaging harm to companies' images and how things are perceived by the public. You can see that all over the place. Anything you read online is going to have lots and lots of feedback, and so social media has changed this dynamic and this conversation quite a bit in terms of what businesses can or cannot do. Whereas in the past they could have remained relatively in the shadows, but now nothing is really hidden, or you can't hide anything that you do really. What are the owner's responsibilities and boundaries, right? And so some of us might talk about, if it's a private company, you can do whatever you want, which makes sense to a certain degree as long as it's within the rules and laws. But what if you own a public company? What if you are the CEO or the majority stakeholder of a large company that's public, right? Now it's not really your company per se anymore. The public owns it. Public shareholders, people own franchises. You have employees, right? So what you do in your responses or decisions are going to have a wide-reaching ramifications to many people, right? Again, and so what's your responsibility? What should you do? What is within the boundaries of what should happen and should be said, right? Do you say less or stand up less for what you believe in because you as an organization might lose some money? Maybe your people lose some jobs, right? So now these are larger, more difficult conversations perhaps to talk about. Whereas before, if you're the only one who's impacted, then maybe you're more free to do whatever you want. But if other people are impacted, then you may have a different mindset on what you choose to say or choose to do. Like even for myself, I have a family now. I need to think about how my family's impacted when I choose to do things. And hopefully my family will stand with me on some of my decisions. But you as an owner, you have responsibilities to many different aspects of life beyond just your own income or your own image. And so again, you need to weigh that option as well. And the last question is that do you feel that some issues are more permissible to speak out on or not? And so right now there's lots of talk about racism, especially in North America. There's those issues. There are issues all over the world, right? Some are, in popular opinion. If you stand on that side, then it'll be very easy to talk about. But what if you want to say something that's not popular opinion, right? Do you stay silent because people are going to act negatively toward it? So I would encourage, maybe you need to stand up for things that maybe are not popular. It's very difficult in high school, I understand, but the issues that need to be talked about, or the issues that need people to back them, often the ones that are not right away popular, or people want to avoid them because of the difficulty of the conversation, right? So be sure that you can pick your side and you can take your stance when it's valuable, right? It's very easy to go along with the crowd when the majority is walking in a certain way. It's very difficult to do so when you are one of the first few, right? When are you on the front lines of it, right? So again, what do you want to be? Do you want to lead from the front, or do you want to, follow from the back? That's the question. And so I'm going to post some of these questions on Edsby, and so I want you to respond to one of them. You don't need to respond to all of them. Respond to one of them, giving me your thoughts and views on that question. So that'll conclude our Chick-fil-A case study. I'll give you also 2 readings to do, so please make sure you do those readings to ensure you have some framework and understanding of how this case kind of wrapped up in that time, even though things are still going on. So the next thing we're going to do is going to look at some bias testing. And so this is where things may get a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So one, do you believe that men should have careers and that women should stay home with the family? Why or why not? And so again, I want you to answer honestly. I want you to answer not holding back, but just back up what you have to say. Think about it, talk about it, and we'll discuss this a little bit later or tomorrow or whatnot. But I want you just to think about the answer to this question. Where does it come from? Why do you believe this? Why maybe you don't believe this, or whatever it may be. So we'll have a discussion about it. So I want you to frame your thoughts right now, okay? So think about that. Maybe answer that question in your head. And 2, maybe an easier one, but maybe more difficult in the same token. Do you identify yourself as having any racism? Or if you want to frame it differently, any cultural biases, right? Do you? And so think deep and hard about how you act and how you feel and how you respond to different things. And maybe your answer will surprise you, or maybe it won't. And so the question is, how do you know? If your answer is yes, or if your answer is no, how do you know this to be the case? That's an important question. And so I'm also going to post a poll on Edsby for both of these things. And so I want you to answer both polls on Edsby as honestly as possible. And so then we'll kind of talk about those results in a little bit. So the next thing I want you to do is to kind of confirm these biases, or confirm your lack of bias or your absence of bias. So to do this, we're going to take some tests, okay? And so I'll show you how to get there. And so we're going to take 2 tests. And so we're going to go to this website. We're going to take a test. You're going to record your results, and then you're going to respond. And so if you click on this link, or if you copy and paste this link into your search bar, implicit.harvard.edu, it'll take you to this screen right here, okay? And so what I want you to do right now is take your mouse, click on Project Implicit Social Attitudes, and you click on that, and you'll see this big page. You're going to read the information, and it'll say, I wish to proceed, okay? So we'll click that, I wish to proceed, and it'll take you to this page. So this page has a whole bunch of tests. Again, you can do all of them if you want. The 2 that I want you to do are the race IAT and the, gender career IAT. Okay, race IAT, gender career IAT, they don't always come in this order, so please make sure you're not just doing the last one. Race IAT and gender IAT. And so I want you to do both of those things, and then you're going to record your responses. And so if we take a look at this page again, so for example, if I go to gender career IAT, I click on that, and it's going to take you to a survey, okay? So the survey is not the test. So the test hasn't started yet, so I'll show you where we're going to go. This is just a survey, so I'm just going to decline to answer, until it gets us to the actual test. So decline, continue. And so this is where the test starts. Okay, and so make sure you read the instructions very clearly, make sure you follow it, and answer it as honestly as possible, because it's reactionary, it's by speed. So if you take too long, answers won't register properly. If you take too long and the end of it says we didn't gather enough data, you'll have to do it again. So you do it again until you get an answer to data. And so once you get here, you're going to take the test, and once you finish this test, it's going to give you results. It's going to say you have a moderate, extreme, heavy association to something and something and something. So copy that box or copy that text, and I want you to record it, and you're going to end up pasting that text into Edsby and responding to it. So you're going to do that to two different things, the Gender Career IAT and the Race IAT. So I want you to do both tests, copy both answers or copy both results in one post. Don't do two separate posts. So if you need to open up a Word document or a notepad and copy it and save it, but make one post, put your gender career results, comment on it, record, respond to what it says you are, and then do the next one, the Race IAT one, copy the results down, respond honestly about what you think happened or why it said what it said, etc., etc. Okay, so that's your test, and we're going to all do that, and then we're going to talk about it. And so be honest, it's going to give you results that you might not want to see or might not want to hear. Admittedly, there are flaws in this test that I know, but this is a test just to see. It doesn't say, it's not going to say you're sexist or racist. It's just going to make a statement that I want you to respond to. Okay? It does not mean you are what it says. Just be very clear, but it's just a way to start conversation that I want us to have. Okay? So, do that on Edsby once you've already done the poll and done the responses. And after you've done all that, I want you to continue working on your presentations. So I looked at the presentations file, and it's pretty sparse. And so today, finish this presentation. This lesson has been 12 minutes long. It might take you another 5 minutes to do the actual tests and to respond. And so that should give you enough time to work on your presentations, and then we'll meet up and we'll present them after. All right. Thanks, folks.